It says we're preparing to go live. Just a couple more seconds. And we should be live, guys. To go live. Just a couple more seconds. Hey guys, welcome to another What Car or Truck Should I Buy?
And as you can tell, we are isolated and we are not in the same room because, of course, we can't be in the same room because we hate each other's guts. So we decided that it's better just to be in 3 different rooms so that we don't turn into like an all-out cage fight. Right, Nathan?
Yeah, instead of 6 feet, it's like 60 miles difference or something. It's ridiculous. I'm in Denver and they're in Boulder.
Yeah, because, you know, as much as I would enjoy a cage match against you two, it would not be good for, well, our love lives, let's face it. You know, I don't think MMA fighting does much for your love life.
It would make for a great video, though.
It would make for a great video. Anyway, Andre, are you seeing the questions? Because I'm not seeing them.
I could see them. Hold on one sec.
Okay.
So, by the way, we have 59 people watching, or 80 people watching. Oh my goodness, thank you guys for joining. And a lot of the usual suspects are here, so we really appreciate you joining. And in this show, we want to answer your questions that we received on email and also in the live chat, super chat right here. And Roman and Nathan, I have about 18 questions queued up and ready to go.
Okay. Before we get to those, let's kind of talk about where we're at and what we're actually doing and why we are now doing this via Zoom. And that, of course, is because, well, we can't be in the same room. And, you know, we're trying to crank out videos and we're trying to engage you guys as part of the show. So thank you guys for tuning in. And this is your chance to ask us anything and everything that you're interested in. We've got a bunch of great questions that have been emailed to us. But first of all, boys, how are you holding up, Andre? How's life with 2 kids and, you know, no school?
It's interesting, it's different. But before I talk about my life, I want to acknowledge that Luke1234 donated $5.
Thank you very much.
Hold on here, I got this, hold on.
So Luke, you've supported us in the past. We really appreciate you guys' support. Luke has a question about 2019 Nissan Frontier. So before I tell you about my life, which is not interesting actually, how about we answer Luke's question?
Yeah, let's get right to it.
Yeah, what's the question?
He says, I have a 2019 Frontier and I want to make my tailgate dampen. Can't seem to find a part that fits. Can I use a part from a Ranger or Tacoma?
You know, you can get a hose and squirt it down and really dampen it. That'll work really well, Luke. Sometimes you can also get a water bottle and pour it on the tailgate, but I'd personally go for a hose. How about you, Nathan?
I think that you guys have to excuse Roman for being locked up for so long. I think he's losing his mind. Actually, you're not the first person to ask about this. They are very different types of tailgates. The actual construct is completely different. So before you go and yank parts off, what you may want to do is go onto a Toyota forum or a Ford Ranger forum and ask them directly. I don't recommend just grabbing the parts and trying to shove it on there. They are different in terms of their overall setup.
I personally saw a Ford Ranger. One of the owners came up for Dude, I Love My Truck video, and he actually had a little strut shock absorber on the Ranger. So yeah, like Nathan said, maybe you could check out some of those parts. And if you can't find a Nissan part, maybe that's the one.
Or maybe you can MacGyver it, you know, like get a big long string, attach it to the tailgate with like a bungee cord, right? And then, yeah, that's how you do it. Attach your bungee cord. If it's a Nissan, it's got those hooks on the side, right? Attach that bungee cord to the hook and then attach it to the tailgate. So when you pop the tailgate open, that bungee cord will act as a not a dampening-er, to keep the tailgate from flopping down. So yeah, go for it, dude. I'd love to see that. Send us a picture. We will post it to all of our social media.
Yeah, so Tony Dangerfield just gave us $10. Thank you,
Tony.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. And Roman will ring the bell, as always.
I will ring the bell, and I will be very happy because It's been very hard doing videos recently, as you can tell.
But we're not slowing down. We're still going to be publishing video.
We're not slowing down. A lot of the videos feature me and Tommy because me and Tommy live together. So we figure we can be next to each other because we're together all the time. And it's not because we don't want Nathan or Andre in the videos. It's just because, it's hard to sit 6 feet. I guess in a Hummer, you could probably sit 6 feet apart, right? That's about a Humvee, actually. The Humvee.
Yeah, it's not like getting the Suzuki. That's for damn sure.
Okay. Mr. Pink donated $2. Thank you, Mr. Pink.
Thank you.
Mr. Pink says, when are you going to be putting the new Suburban on the Ike Gauntlet?
Well, we get one, dude. We haven't even gotten a hold of it. We went and looked at it, and we poked it with a stick, and that's as close as we got to the real one. We're really struggling, guys, with getting press cars right now. It's been a real challenge, as you can imagine. So yeah, I think we're probably gonna have to wait till this blows over because I don't foresee us getting a Suburban until there's a first drive opportunity, right? And that has we had about a dozen maybe programs that we were supposed to go on, including the Defender in Europe, which would have been way cool, including there was Easter Jeep Safari. We're supposed to be at Easter Jeep Safari, me and you, Nathan.
That's right. And there was Cadillac and a whole bunch of other ones I had to cancel. Pretty much everybody's canceled.
Yeah. So that's been difficult because it's hard to get people excited about cars that have been out a while, but that's what we got. So we're doing the best that we can. So thank you for that donation. It means a lot. Another question. Actually, before I get there, Nathan, how are you dealing with your 14 dogs? I know you've got 2 kids as well, but those are easy. It's the cats and the dogs.
No, the kids aren't easy either. Believe me, I'm right now dodging them and shoving them out of the room. Right before everything kicked in, right before the crisis began, my family bought 2 cats because God hates me. And now they're everywhere. I haven't had cats in 30 years. And this is Andre's fault completely because he's like, oh, I love cats. Cats are the best. So now we have a bunch of dogs and cats in my house, and we are all stuck in the same place. So if I had hair, I'd pull it out, but I don't. So I drink.
You look good. You look really fresh shaven. You're looking like you're, doing well.
Yeah, I have no excuse not to shave because I'm at home all the time.
Cats and dogs living together. Congratulations.
Quite literally, cats and dogs. My kids were even talking about getting more fish, and I'm like, no, done. No more.
Parakeet, maybe?
No birds, nothing. We're done. I'll eat whatever comes into the door. So yeah.
Mal Dog just donated $10.
Thank you very much. That's awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. We're really grateful for that. Next question, Andre. What do we got? Give me a hard one.
Yeah, Mel Dog says he's a #1 fan, so we appreciate that, and your generosity is amazing during a time like this. So here's an email question that came in just a little bit ago, and it comes from Jason Tassa, and he says, will the new 2020 Ram heavy-duty truck be faster up the Ike Gauntlet? He's thinking about upgrading his older Ram heavy-duty Hemi. So that's the question.
Well, I'm losing weight during this, so I've lost about 10 pounds now. You're losing weight, so maybe it'll be a little bit faster because we're all a little bit more svelte, a little bit more kind of fit. What do you think, Andre? Will that help?
Yes, and I don't know if I'm losing weight because I'm sitting on my chair 24 hours a day.
Yeah. Seriously, will it be faster, guys? What do you think?
Well, it depends. First of all, the new transmission just came out, right, Andre?
Yeah, it's the 8-speed ZF automatic.
Right.
And the reason why I also picked out this question from my emails is because we've tested, Nathan, remember we did the Power Wagon several times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the Power Wagon don't care, right?
They don't care.
But also it has a new transmission and the same Hemi 6.4 liter. But right before the lockdown happened, this was, I think, early March, I got a phone call from Ram, and they said, you know what, the truck you've been asking us for, that 2500 Hemi with a new transmission for towing testing, it's right here in Detroit. Congratulations.
Come get it.
And they said, we cannot send it to you. Come get it. And Roman and Nathan and I, we talked and we said, maybe it's worth going and getting it. And the next day they said, don't come get it.
Yeah, and then they locked us down. So we've got the truck sitting in Detroit, and we have no way of getting to it right now.
It's just waiting for us.
Just waiting for us. Yeah, and they built it specifically for us because of you guys. So it's really frustrating to be doing that. But yeah, hopefully, you know, if we get through the other end of this, the first place we're going to go is to Detroit and pick that thing up, or hopefully they'll be the first to send it to us.
Yeah. Dan Atkinson is joining us on live chat.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for your wonderful. By the way, we've got a new podcast, guys. So if you can't watch video, there's a new TFL Truck and TFL Car podcast, wherever podcasts are not sold. In other words, you know, wherever you get them for free. So Apple, Google, Spotify. It's called Talking Trucks and Talking Cars. And Dan was featured on an episode where he talked about what it's like to be a trucker in this time of, well, let's call it crisis, right? And thank you, Dan, for being out there and putting yourself on the line and helping get the stuff that we need to, you know, our stores. So really grateful for that.
Yeah, it's really cool to see unsung heroes finally kind of coming up. It's unfortunate that it has to be with this current situation, but Dan's a great representative for other truckers out there. Not only that, but he's been a longtime friend of TFL Trucks. So great to see him out there, and hopefully he'll stay healthy and sane.
Yeah, and go listen to the podcast because Dan did a great job in explaining what it's like to be on the road nowadays.
Yeah, and Dan says currently the freight bookings are slowing down a little bit, so he's not seeing as many bookings as he used to see. And he says, because I'm sitting in my chair, he says that now you know what it's like to be a driver.
Andre, what's that painting next to you? Is that like a pirate ship? What the hell is that?
Yes, thank you for asking. I was hoping you would ask.
Are you a secret pirate, dude? Do you gotta like dress up and go swab the missing deck or whatever the hell pirates do?
So believe it or not, when I graduated high school,
yeah,
my parents gave me this painting. It's actually not a painting; it's a picture.
Okay.
And I was wondering because it looked like this boat is sinking, right? But it's not. It's not sinking. It's actually going through these really big, huge, nasty waves. And basically, what they wanted to say is that, you know, I graduated high school and now I'm into the real world where the waters are bumpy and the wind is blowing. So it's here to remind me of that.
All right. Well, that's nice, Andre. That's really nice.
I'm sorry. I'm surprised you didn't go to Somalia and start raiding large ships. So I'm glad. This adds to your stress. I mean, imagine this. Your parents are like, you know, hey, congratulations on high school. Now life really begins to suck.
Yes. Hunter Fried just donated $5.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Hunter.
Hunter has a question, very specific. He said, I bought a 2012 Acura TSX sport wagon.
Nice.
It's white on white.
Ooh.
And after seeing one and watching your reviews from 9 years ago, love your video and podcast.
What's the question?
That's it.
That was a very specific question.
Statement there, Andre. The waves are really hitting you. First of all, the TSX is a really cool car. And getting it white on white, I've never seen that color combination before. So that's pretty rare. Very cool.
Don Johnson, man.
Yeah, it is. Actually, it is kind of something that you would see down by the ocean. So that's really cool. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I love that. I love like those kind of like Miami Vice, you know, look, it's a cool look. And I think it's going to be a good one to hold on to because I think that's one of those cars that over time will come up in value because they're probably underappreciated and underproduced in some ways. It's a really good car. You know, it's the problem with Acura, I think right now, guys, and let's see if you agree with me, is that they've kind of lost their way in terms of their names, right? Remember when it first came out, like you had the NSX, you had the Integra, you had the Legend. And now if you were to ask me what their lineup is, I think I'd have a hard time coming up with all the names.
Yeah, I agree that they really should bring back names and kind of get rid of the alphanumeric thing. But I mean, their products are solid and they're really good. You know what I do miss? I kind of miss the days when you had a manual transmission and a little bit more of a kind of a driver-centric car, kind of the cool, expensive Honda. Now they're just a completely different breed, but they're really well made. They're really fast. They're efficient. You know, that's a start. I just, you know, they just lost a little bit of their edge.
I would buy an Acura Cojones all day long. I don't know about you, but I would go for that.
Grande Cojones. That's the one I would get. That's their special.
Yeah, that's the one that lives above the MDX.
That's right.
Okay, guys, we have 18 more prepared questions. Okay, can we move on?
Please, Andre.
Okay. So this is email came in to ask@tfltruck.com, which is one of our aliases, and emails where you could actually ask us directly all your questions. And this one is from Aden Lucina. And Aden is asking, he just picked up a 2019 Ram 1500 four-wheel drive, 5.7 liter Hemi with an e-torque system, but it has a 321 rear differential ratio.
Oh my.
And so it's not a 392 like we had in our Rebel.
Right.
And he says maximum towing on his particular truck, he looked all of this up, he's really on top of it, is 8,200 pounds because of the rear end. And he needs to tow about 6,000 pounds and going through the mountains. And he's concerned that, he didn't realize he was buying that rear differential ratio when he actually got the truck. He's concerned, can he still tow 6,000 pounds safely and well with his truck?
Yeah, it's this kind of cool equation, right, between the axle ratio and the fuel economy number. And so some trucks are set up basically for, heavy towing, and some trucks are set up for great fuel economy. And you bought the fuel economy one.
Yeah, and it's rated 8,200 pounds, right? Manufacturer uses all the standards, right? J2807. So he should have no issue. I know he's a little bit nervous, maybe not as much capability. And he says, can he swap out a new rear end? Can he just go to a shop and boom, slap in a new diff?
Yeah, you can, but take out another mortgage. It's going to be expensive.
It's going to be extremely expensive. You know what might help mellow him out a little bit is the possibility of putting a sensor, which they do sell, where you can keep track of the heat that's going to his rear end. It may actually help a little bit. I know it didn't sound right, but you know what I mean. Come on, guys, come on.
I had chili all weekend. I needed that sensor, dude.
Okay, I'm done. But you know what I mean.
It's a good idea.
Monitor the heat that's going to the rear diff and maintain that it's at a level that's acceptable. And if it goes too high, then you may need to pull over. But I don't think it's going to be the case. I think Andre is absolutely right. You should be all right as long as you're 2,000 pounds under your maximum.
Yeah, and by the way, thank you guys for still your comments and questions on the live chat, super chat. We're really great. We have another one. I think Brady Bearboy donated $10.
Thank you.
Brady. Sorry if I didn't see your question for a couple of minutes. He's got a 2005 Tundra four-wheel drive with over 200,000 miles. He picked it up for 6,000. Oh, he's asking, should he get that 2005 Tundra for 6,000 or wait for the next generation Tacoma TRD Pro?
Well, you got a long wait, dude.
You're going to wait a while. How long do you want to wait? That's really the question.
Yeah, at the rate Toyota's rolling these trucks out, we were expecting a new Tundra at the Chicago Auto Show this year. And as you guys know, we didn't get it. And so we're expecting the new Tundra next year. There's no real timeline for the next Tacoma, as far as I can tell. Nathan, have you heard anything?
Yeah, we actually did put out a story on Car and Truck about some leaked Toyota information, but there's nothing that's super confirmed. This is just leaks that may be confirmed, right, Andre? Do you remember that post that we put up? I think it was a little over a week ago.
Yeah, and they were saying, so they said at the end of 2021, the next gen Tundra, and then the Tacoma maybe a year or two after that.
Yeah,
so,
they were saying 2022 maybe.
Yeah, we're talking about at least 2 to 3 years. So this is kind of an interesting question, Brady, because you're saying, do you want to spend $6,000 now or wait 3 years and spend 50 grand? So I would say, if you have the money, just get the truck now. Don't be like me. Don't wait forever.
Yeah.
For the next truck.
I had a friend who made a good point. He taught me something about that, waiting for the, you're always waiting for the next generation because you want the next best thing. But what he concluded, and he was right, is that you don't get the advantage of using the new thing while it's available, right? So this was like when the iPad first came out. I was like, hey, I'm super jealous. You've got the newest one. And he was like, yeah, but you've been using yours for 2 years now while I sat on my hands waiting for the next generation. And it's true, right? I mean, at some point, just get the damn thing, use it, and enjoy it. And, you know, I think this might be a good point in this live show to talk about kind of what we think. This is our best guess, right? And I'll go through, let's go through all three of you guys, okay? All three of us, what we think is going to happen with new products, because that's probably one of the most interesting questions we always get. So I was just reading a story today that said that the auto industry is probably going to lose $100 billion because of what's happening right now, right? That is a mind-boggling amount of money. And if you take that even with a grain of salt, that means that there's not going to be as much money to roll out new product, right? That's pretty much what that's going to translate to. And so I think that the stuff that is in the pipeline is going to roll out, but anything that is in the pipeline is probably either not going to roll out or is going to get delayed. So why don't we start and talk about what we know is in the pipeline and what was coming and what was shut down right before, you know, it was supposed to roll out. So I think the biggest one, of course, was the Bronco, right? The Bronco was supposed to come out now sometime at the New York Auto Show. So I think that is pretty much like, you know, in the can and ready for Ford to roll it out. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, that and the Bronco Sport. Both of those things are just ready to go, and you know, the production lines are probably heating up right now.
Yep. And Andre, I think another one that was probably ready and pretty much cooked is the TRX, right? The Hellcat powered.
There was just a question about that on the super chat as well.
Yeah.
And well, they were asking about air suspension, if we think there's going to be air suspension in it. Yeah, the TRX is, I mean, that one was pretty close to being in production. We've been seeing, what, dozens of them running around the hills in various forms of disguise. And I would imagine that they already have the cast, you know, the die has been cast and they're ready to production once production once again kicks in.
Yep. And then the other thing that I think was pretty much already cooked is a new line of, what do they call them? 4xe, the electric Jeeps, right? The hybrids.
Yeah.
They rolled those out at CES. And I think they were actually probably, you know, ready to get those out there and out the door much quicker than they were able to, because there's just no place to roll it out right now.
Yeah, actually, Roman, you interviewed Jim Morrison from Jeep. He's the head honcho, right?
Yeah.
And Jim said that he kind of let it slip a little bit. He said, you know, you would have been driving or actually sitting in, he said, literally sitting in a 4xe Wrangler this week, but it's canceled. So
yeah, I think the thing that kind of I think was most interesting, and by the way, go to that podcast. It's pretty interesting. It's basically the future of Jeep. Once again, where podcasts are not sold. The thing that he kind of said, which I didn't pick up on, but I kind of did a dope slap afterwards, was I asked him if they're going to put a Hemi into the Gladiator, and he said, let's keep that conversation going. And usually when he says that, that means that, you know, there is probably talk or some development happening with putting a Hemi into a Gladiator. We probably would have seen the diesel Gladiator by now as well, but once again, you know, no place to roll it out.
Yeah, there's one more donation. So Roy Pledge gave $5 Canadian.
All right, thank you.
Roy, yeah, hey there. We love our Canadians.
So he's saying once again, wait or don't wait question. Get a 2020 Supra now for a good deal, or wait for a 2021 Supra with potential engine upgrades.
That's one for you, Nathan. What do you think?
Well, it's for me. Yeah. Well, I mean, don't they have that new 4-cylinder coming out soon?
That was.
I don't think that's what he means with upgrades. He wants more power.
Okay. Well, the question really is then, you know, should he get a inexpensive car now or a more expensive car later with only a slight bump in performance, which is what we're hearing. Personally speaking, I say just buy now, especially right now. Right now, God, the market is open, guys. You guys can negotiate like crazy with some of these dealers because of what's going on. I mean, think about it that way in terms of savings. Now, if you're waiting for the 4-cylinder, it is in the pike. It's supposed to be coming, but everything may be pushed back a few months or even up to 6 months. We don't know. But we do know that things have slowed down in terms of production. So yeah, I would go for it now personally.
Yeah, let's talk. We talked a lot about FCA. Let's talk about Chevy a little bit and what's coming. You know, we've got 3 big trucks that, you know, are supposed to be coming, right? The Suburban, the Tahoe, and of course the Escalade. All 3 were unveiled. There are going to be programs for them, but, you know, not available because there's no way to roll them out. So when do you think those will hit? I get a feeling that if we get through this, the manufacturers are just going to be dying to put out new products so that they can kind of get the ball rolling again, right? I mean, right now what's happening is all the factories in America, I think all of them are closed. I don't think anybody's building cars, even Tesla. And so I would think that, look, the lifeblood of any car company is new product. And there's a lot in the pipeline. And I suspect that once we get back to normal, or whatever is normal, there'll be, you know, a huge push by the manufacturers to start getting some money through the door. And the only way they're going to do that is by actually pumping out new product.
And so I think what we're going to see, I think what we're going to see is actually, you know, some factories are down right now, like you said, right? So some factories are actually not working. But as soon as those factories begin to, you know, come online again, maybe within 2 to 3 weeks, some of them are saying, right? I think they'll continue on whatever plan they were on, just delayed a little bit, right? So if they cannot have an event, for example, to invite all of us to, maybe they'll unveil some of these things or debut them by actually sending them to a press fleet or some other way, right? So, and obviously we'll be asking for these new Tahoes, Yukons, Escalades, all of it, you know, right away, so we can do our testing.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't need us to roll out a new vehicle, right? They can do it without having any media go and actually review it. BMW just, I don't know if you guys have been watching our TFL Now channel, BMW just rolled out a new motorcycle virtually. But I kind of, it feels really, when you watch that, it feels really kind of, disappointing isn't the right word, anticlimactic, you know? I mean, you miss all that kind of pomp and circumstance, and you know, here it is, here's a bunch of pictures, and here's some B-roll, and that's not very exciting. At least for me as a car and truck guy, I'm like, I don't feel
that's
like.
why people follow, you know, people like us who and other reviewers, because they want a real take on what these vehicles are, even our first impressions, which is what we do. And I think that, you know, obviously the automakers, I think that I agree with Andre, the minute they're willing to get those cars back to us, they're going to want to do that as soon as possible. Half of the fun of getting that stuff out for them is saving money by having us bring that product to the audience. So, you know, that makes a lot of sense. I think that it's entirely possible by the end of this summer, this is just a guess, that we'll start seeing some car makers try to get this stuff to us, either sending it to us or bringing us out to their events. That's provided that things do calm down as projected.
And speaking of GM, I have a question here lined up from Mark Cano. And actually, Mark is looking into the future with the midsize trucks with General Motors. And his specific question is, now that the 3-liter inline turbo diesel is out in the half-ton trucks, do you see GM putting this engine into the midsize trucks, so the smaller Colorado and the Canyon? And do you think this means the end of the line for the 2.8-liter 4-cylinder Duramax that they have? So he's basically saying, do you know anything, any upgrades or any changes to the Colorado/Canyon?
Well, for one thing, I actually talked to, when we went to one of the debuts early on, when Mr. Truck was yelled at for going underneath one of the Chevys when he was looking for a diesel. At that same time, I was asking some of the GM guys about putting the big 6 diesel inside the smaller mid-sized truck. And one of them looked at me and said, how would it fit? And that look on his face was kind of like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. I don't think that they'd get rid of that 4-cylinder. It's a sweet engine, and nobody else currently produces a 4-cylinder turbo diesel in a mid-sized truck. So why would they give that up? And then on top of that, being able to stuff that 3-liter inside those small mid-sized trucks, wouldn't that take away a little bit from the half-ton trucks that have that engine? I don't think that's going to happen personally.
Yeah, we know those 3-liters are going to be in the Tahoe, the Suburban, and the Escalade. That's right. That's where they're going to find a home. Whether you guys are going to buy them or not, I don't know. But that's really where I think they're probably looking for bigger trucks where the diesel gives it more of a fuel economy advantage, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you.
I think you're right. I don't see them upgrading to the 3-liter in the Colorado. It's just too big, too heavy, and it won't get you much.
No, not really. Those little 4-cylinders are wizard little engines especially when you drive them right, and they get good mileage and they have great torque.
I would agree. Plus, GM hasn't announced anything big changes. The 2021, I mean, Roman has showed you and Tommy has showed you some of the Canyon new 84 trim, right? But it's just a mild change. They changed the grill and they changed, you know, some of the trim.
It's a little disappointing, to be honest with
you. So we don't have any other big news there.
Well, hold on. We do have some big news, Andre. It's nothing to do with GM, or it might be to do with GM, and that is this week we finally figured it out. We're going to be doing the Gold Hitch and Gold Winch Awards. So we've been getting a lot of emails from people asking us when we're going to do those. And Andre, when are we going to do them, and what are we doing with them?
Thank you. That was one of my next questions. So thank you for that. So basically, we decided that we're going to all vote this week. So it's coming up really soon, and announce our 2020 Gold Hitch and Gold Winch Off-Road Awards this Friday. So stay tuned, guys. We'll be doing our deliberations remotely using Zoom. And then we'll kind of put it all together, publish it on Friday, and then also let all the manufacturers know as well. So, and this is going to be
categories
in heavy duty segments, so heavy duty off-road, mid-size off-road, and then the heavy duty diesel towing, and of course the half-ton diesels, because all those trucks are new and we've tested every one of them, well, with like one or two exceptions.
So let me be clear. So you're saying the best mid-size truck for off-road, the best heavy duty truck for off-road, you can buy the best heavy duty towing truck, and what's the fourth one?
The best half-ton diesel.
Yeah, so those are all the trucks that we've tested, thanks to Andre's, Nathan's, Mr. Trucks, Steve's hard work. We've driven all of those. We're going to use the Gold Hitch have always been based on our Ike Gauntlet testing, and they've been based on our off-road testing, but there's no formal way of like scoring them. So just because a truck scored the best doesn't mean it's going to win the Gold Hitch or the Gold Winch Award. We're going to have a robust and I think entertaining discussion you know, in the end, and vote for them. And we're going to publish that as we do every year. So you guys will see why we decided what we decided. So I'm super excited for that. Bring your A games, boys.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So next question really quick. By the way, Nathan or Roman, if you see the super chat, you can help me looking at some of those questions as well.
We don't see it, Andre.
I do, because I'm seeing it on my phone, but my eyes are horrible, so I'm trying to see it. Okay. And trying to make eye contact at the same time. Too.
Good idea. Thank you, Nathan.
Sorry. So just really quickly, and we can do this lightning round too.
Okay, let's do it. Fire away.
So let's go quickly. We have a few more, and then we can also get the super chat guys and all of these guys done. So Rick sent an email to ask a TFL truck, and he says, I just found a 2004 Touareg VW V6 with air ride suspension and a rear diff locker. Should I buy it? He's been watching our series on the VW Touareg, and he just found one, but V6 versus V8. So Roman, do you think you should buy this V6 air ride?
Yeah, hell yeah, get that thing. They're really hard to find. I think Tommy actually talked to me about that one. Hey, here's Tommy. He's going to answer it. So I'm gonna let him do it because he's kind of the guy for this. Go for it, dude.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Tommy.
So I was actually talking to this gentleman over email, and I told him to get the V6 with the rear locker if he could find one. Not that he ever will, but he did manage to find one, just because the rear locker is so rare and is so cool off-road, and then you can lift the coil springs. But he actually extended that question and said he found a early Blazer ZR2 with the rear locker.
Whoa.
And he was wondering which one should he get, the ZR2.
Blazer.
The Touareg. Yeah, I can't help you there, buddy. They're two different.
So wait, isn't the ZR2 a two-door?
Yeah, it's a two-door Blazer. It's got a wider wheelbase. It's got beefier suspension, beefier axles, locking rear diff. It's got that great V6. It gets crappy mileage, but it is really good off-road. It's one of the unsung heroes of the 90s.
Yep. So that was his dilemma: Touareg or Blazer with the rear locker, the ZR2. Those are hard to find though too. Those ZR2s.
They are really hard to find, but the parts are a lot cheaper than the Volkswagen parts.
Oh, way cheaper.
Oh yeah, it's a diamond in the rough. Well, it really depends on the condition of the vehicle, whether or not Tommy's running into a wall, whether or not Roman's driven it off a cliff, those types of things. So, keep in mind that it depends on what you want. They're very different vehicles.
Yeah, and he said that, and I said, like you have to just look at both of them, right? It's all about how they've been maintained and the service history and the mileage. So,
of course,
anyway,
yeah.
Be curious to see what he ends up with. All right, Dad.
So Tommy, before you run away, there's another email from Dave that came in recently, and Dave is from South Africa, so that's pretty amazing.
Laka.
So he's watching us from overseas, and he said. He says his wife is constantly yelling at him to sell his 2000 XJ with a 2.5 liter diesel. It's a VM, I guess VM Motori diesel engine.
Cool.
That turned 100,000 miles, and that's the background of the story. And he is, let's see. My question is, what should I replace my VM diesel with? What would be the easiest choice in a diesel? And so that's kind of a generic question, but plus we've never tested one of those diesels before.
Well, we never got them here in 2000. We only got the 4-cylinder, the 4-liter. I don't know if they were available in South Africa, but if you want to keep it in the same realm, they actually did a Grand Cherokee diesel too. Do you remember the next gen? They had that 3-liter, the CRD. Mm-hmm. Those are pretty popular. Same thing with the Liberties. Remember the Liberties?
They had the common rail diesels on the Liberty as well.
Yeah, so if he wants to keep it in the Jeep family, both of those have a pretty good reputation, and they're both affordable and can be found with some lower mileage because the XJs are just so high mileage now.
But I think his wife actually wants him to get rid of the diesel altogether. So so maybe Dave, all we can say is try to find maybe a straight 6 Jeep. Straight 6 gas engine is really solid engines.
Or if you want a Grand Cherokee, the Hemis, right? The 5.7 Hemis are pretty good. Mm-hmm. A lot of, there's so many options. In South Africa, they get all those really cool things that we don't get, like the 70 series Land Cruisers, right?
And Pajeros and stuff like that.
Oh, Mitsubishi, what happened?
Some cool stuff.
Horrible. All right, Andre. Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate it.
See ya.
Thanks.
All right,
So what's
Nathan.
the next question, Andre?
Hold on, I got a lightning round here for you, boys. Let's see here. Nolan Schmidt wants to know, Telluride or Palisade? Go, Andre.
Telluride.
Telluride. Yeah.
Telluride. I'm Telluride too.
Yeah, it's just cooler.
It looks better.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, Telluride. There you go. Telluride. They're both good. They're both good, but go for the Telluride. Okay, Nathan. Any word on the new Ford Courier?
Ford Courier, rumors are Ford wants to build a smaller pickup truck, and right now they're building one, and it's going to be unit body design based on the European setup. This is all a rumor. Nothing has been confirmed.
Nothing has been confirmed, so we don't know anything about it. Give them the background on the Courier, so we know what we're talking about.
Ford Courier goes all the way back to the early 70s based on a Mazda platform when Ford realized that they needed a small truck to battle Toyota and Nissan. And ever since then, it's kind of gone back and forth between Mazda and Ford. Nowadays, overseas, there is a Ford Courier that is, once again, it's actually a Ranger. Mazda actually has something that's based on the Ranger. Once again, Ford, Mazda sharing something. Now they're looking at overseas versions of their unit body vehicle, which is basically a car that has a pickup truck bed. It's slightly more heavy duty suspension, 4-cylinder engine that's able to move around and be very inexpensive, a lot cheaper than the Ford Ranger currently is in the United States. The question, of course, is, are they going to bring it here? Is it going to be all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive? Is it going to be like the Honda Ridgeline, which is sort of kind of the same thing? Those are the questions we need answered, and unfortunately, we don't have those yet.
All right, Andre, this one's for you. It's a really good question, actually. This Spear 11 asks, is Ram going to put the ZF 8-speed or the 9-speed Allison in their high-output Cummins? Now, you might want to give them some background on that, Andre, because it is a good question.
Yeah, and also Dan Atkinson, who is in the chat room here on our live chat, he went to the Work Truck Show, and unfortunately I didn't make it. I wasn't there in person, but there were actually ride and drives where you could drive a new 8-speed ZF, and also 9-speed Allison. So so Dan maybe can have some more comments on this. But the rumor right now is that Ram is shopping around for their heavy duty trucks, 2500 and 3500s, for a new transmission, because they've been using the Ison. Did I say it correctly?
Yeah, you said it right. Perfect.
Sorry, I have trouble with this. The Ison.
I know it's spelled like Asin, but it's pronounced Ison.
Yeah, so they've had that 6-speed, right, for many, many years. And they're looking around to maybe switch to a different brand. And a lot of people, we did a story on this on the website, and a lot of people actually were gravitating, I think, maybe a little bit towards Allison, because Allison has a very great reputation in heavy duty trucks, commercial trucks, big trucks. So that's, we don't have a confirmation from Ram, but that's the rumor.
All right, let's talk a little bit EV trucks, guys, because for the longest time, EV trucks were the hottest thing out there. And as you know, there's nothing hotter than either the Tesla Cybertruck or the Rivian. And I noticed that Rivian has shut down production, which is kind of weird because they never started production. There's a video out there where it shows the empty plant that they're building in Normal, which used to be a joint plant with Mitsubishi and Chrysler at the time, right, Nathan? They built the Scout.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were retrofitting that for production. And then of course, Tesla decided that they were a critical infrastructure company and built much longer than much of California allowed them to. But I think they're also shut down. So
the sheriff's department actually went in there and shut them down.
Yeah. So what's happening with the electric? And Atlas is out there doing web videos, basically showing off their battery technology. So what do you think is going to happen with electric trucks? Is this going to put a huge brake on electric trucks? Because that all leads, of course, into the next generation F-150. But before we get into that, because that'll be hybrid for sure, we've seen them running around. What do you guys think is going to happen with electric trucks? Is this going to stop, slow down, or accelerate electric truck development and adoption in America? Go for it, Nathan.
I have two things to say. We recently published a story about some EPA standards that have changed over to smart standards through the government. So I won't get into the heavy details about that, but what it basically does is it sort of extends out the requirements that initially were going to be sooner. So in other words, vehicles don't have to be as clean as they were initially. And as such, I don't think the onus is on electric vehicles like it used to be. And because of that, if they need to stretch it out, they can stretch it out. The other side of it is a question of demand. Right now, Tesla is really hot with the demands on their Cybertruck. The numbers are astronomical. We actually published that on TFL Truck. So there is a big demand there and everybody else sees it. But you know who I think is going to catch up during all this?
Who?
Volkswagen. Volkswagen is producing a crap load of EVs and they're still doing it. And they do want to build an EV pickup truck as well, possibly with Ford. That may actually creep into this mix while everybody else is shut down.
So Andre, what do you say? So you're saying slow down, but still moving ahead. Andre, slow down, speed up, or, at the current rate?
There's no speed up. I don't see a speed up. I would say a major slowdown. I don't see manufacturers stopping their electric development. That's not going to happen because I think 3, 4, 5, 10 years in the future, they're still working towards that goal. I think all of them are. But the fuel is really cheap, right? If you can get to a fuel station right now, you will see that gas and diesel are decreasing in price. And like you said, the Rivian build out of their factory has slowed down or stopped. The new company Lordstown, the recent news, and tomorrow they're going to be publishing another news story. Lordstown, Ohio, truck with hub motors, electric truck. They said also is going to be slowed down. Bollinger is probably going to slow down. Bollinger is a very small niche company, with a very high price, relatively speaking, for their electric truck, about $125,000. So I think that's going to slow down in a big way.
Yeah, I got an interesting email from a guy saying that he put a deposit down. He ordered a Tesla Cybertruck. Guys, putting $100 down on a Tesla Cybertruck, I don't think it's ordering it. I think it's just putting your name in a line for when that thing comes out. Now the Rivian was a little bit different. I think that was what, $2,000, so that was a much bigger commitment. So people who did actually put $2,000 down, and we were looking for the Rivian to come out sometime at the end of this year. And I know there's a lot of buzz. I hate to be a buzz kill, but dude, the Cybertruck, that is so far away. You know, I mean, it seems like forever until they rolled the Y out, right? Remember when they first introduced the Y? And I know he beat expectations. Tesla beat earlier numbers, but still it took like 2 years to get the Y. I have no idea how Tesla is going to retrofit the one. So Tesla right now has 3 factories. They have one in San Francisco, they're building one in Berlin, and they have one that they just finished, I believe, in Shanghai, right? So 3 factories. I suspect that the Cybertruck factory is going to be in America. I don't see them building it in Berlin. I don't see them building it in China.
They're looking at, they announced that they're looking at the mid United States.
Yeah, so they were out there kind of shopping around, trying to get you know, tax credits. But I think we are, if I'm being conservative, I'm going to say we're at least 2 years out before a Tesla Cybertruck, and I think more likely we're at 3 years out. So I don't think anybody's actually ordered one for real. I think it's you know, it's just a lot of and a lot of wishing right now. But I don't think that truck is anywhere near being ready. But the one that is ready, Andre, is of course the F-150. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, that also might slow down if they had an all-electric truck planned, right? Mostly with Rivian and collaborating with them. But their hybrid truck may still be a go, right? And we've seen a lot of prototypes, obviously. There's a lot of news coming out from this space. The hybrid trucks are, because they might be using the technology they have in their Aviator, the 2020 Lincoln Aviator, which has a plug-in hybrid technology as well. So we recently did a story on this, and it's my opinion, and I've been kind of using all the information that's available, that the next Raptor will use a hybrid system. And we published that video on TFL Truck. And the reason why I'm thinking the next Raptor will be a hybrid is because you're getting a couple of things. You're getting monstrous power. And if the TRX comes out, Ford needs more power in the Raptor to fight against that big supercharged Hemi. And possibly over 500 horsepower is possible with a hybrid. You're getting some electric range, which is nice, you know, when you want to be stealthy and just creep up on people. And then that truck is not carrying a lot of payload anyways. So it's okay for it to be a little bit heavier, in my opinion. So
if I remember right, what, a 600 pound-foot of torque? It's a huge number. Nathan, would you buy a hybrid Raptor? Do you buy that?
Would I buy it?
Yeah. Do you buy it? And would you?
Do I buy what would happen, or would I buy it? No, I don't think right away. I think that honestly, one of the problems is that is a lot of abuse to a hybrid system. And I just don't know if that extra weight that you're going to get on top of the fact that it could be delicate would be something that would pay off on a full-blown off-road vehicle. Now, on a regular F-150, damn, yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. I'm sure they're going to do that, but I don't know if they're going to do it on the Raptor. By the way, real quickly, somebody brought it up on the super chat about a gigafactory being in Nevada. Yeah, that has nothing to do with assembly factories for vehicles. There's a lot of gigafactories that are going up, including one in New York. So that's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's
exactly. So, but yeah, I don't think that we're going to see a Raptor that has a hybrid system anytime soon. I think at first you'll see the F-150 and they'll mess around with that, and then they'll work their way up to the Raptor. That's my guess.
Yeah, and if you look at the pictures that are out there of the new F-150, it looks very similar to the outgoing one. I mean, you know, whenever a manufacturer has a highly successful car or truck, it's always evolutionary, never revolutionary. So if you guys are looking for a completely redesigned F-150, I think you're going to be disappointed. I think the next one is going to look very similar to the current one. The work they really need to do, I think, is on the interior, right?
Yes, without a doubt.
Yeah, and the interiors on these trucks are lacking a little bit. And Andre, you've been driving our F-250 around. What's the latest on that? What's going on with that?
Well, yeah, we're still obviously we still have all our project trucks, and our F-250. Obviously, our kind of progress has been slowed to nothing because we wanted to have a suspension system and a camper. We have all of it lined up. I'm driving it around, and I'm going to do a video this week towing a smaller trailer because I know a lot of you guys have asked for that. I also want to do a video on trying to open up the Ford and look at the in-cab air filter. There's a lot of questions we were receiving about in-cab filtration systems. And Roman, I think you did a video on the Tesla that's coming out soon.
Yeah, hopefully today.
So I want to do those.
Hopefully hopefully it's going up on car right now. I did a video today explaining what Tesla's, what the hell is that thing called? It's their, oh God, biodefense mode. The huge HEPA filter that Tesla has, which is apparently big enough to filter viruses. So check that video out. I'm hoping we're uploading it to car right now. But yeah, it's the only car in the world pretty much that you can buy with that kind of a filter. Who would have thunk that Tesla and Elon would have been so ahead of their time back when they conceived this in like 2015?
Well, yeah, I mean, he has a lot of unique options. They're kind of like leading edge or bleeding edge, I guess, design. I had another question lined up here from Jamil Mohammed. So a couple of more lightning rounds. He has a 2016 Sierra with a 6.2 and an 8-speed, so an older pickup truck. And he says he wants to upgrade his truck, and he's actually looking at the Nissan Titan.
He used to have a Nissan Titan,
5,000-pound camper that he tows just several times or maybe a couple times a month. Should he do it? And I would say, heck yeah, the new Titan is very capable, especially for a smaller trailer. What do you say, guys?
I say thank you to Garlic Bread, who just donated $19.99. We'll answer your question, Garlic Bread, in a second. But I was just reviewing the Titan. Me and Tommy just did a buddy review of it, and I was impressed, Andre. It was my first time actually driving, and it just showed up at the office this morning. And you know, they've really stepped up their game. They really came up from where, you know, it used to be kind of a generation behind all the other trucks. And even though it's a pretty serious mild update, it really does feel like a different truck. So my only drawback was the one we have at the office is $60,000, guys. 60. That's a lot of money. Yeah, and it's the Pro 4X, of course, with all the bells and whistles, but still $60K for a Titan.
Real quick, there is a second answer that you guys can see that'll be coming out later on, probably next week. And that's part of the Nathan to the Rescue thing. And that's exactly this question. But we also talk about the Nissan Titan XD and also the new GMC and Sierra with the 6.2 liter and the 10-speed automatic transmission. So all of that is actually in that same exact question.
So Garlic Bread says, I'm going to give you a yes, Garlic Bread. He says, questions for all of you. I have a Ford Excursion 4.4 with the V10. Anyway, once this virus thing is over, we can meet and try the test you guys do in your videos. Also, should I sell it and buy an F-150 or keep it?
Keep it.
Okay, keep it. Let me answer the first question. We'd love to feature it on Dude, I Love My Ride. I know there's been some questions out there whether we can do them virtually. And yes, we can do them virtually. I mean, what we've been asking people, if you guys want to feature your truck or your car on Dude, I Love My Ride, grab this and do us a walk around with it. You know, just kind of walk around and be like, hey, this is my new, or this is my old, do some pointing. This is what I like about it. This is what I hate about it. And we will edit that video into something and we will make you guys YouTube rock stars. So we'd love to see your trucks and your cars, but just do it yourself. Give us a walk around of the thing, please.
Be loud and be steady.
Yeah, be loud and be steady and point and show us what you love about it, show us what you hate about it. And yes, once this is all over, we'd love to feature your excursion on Dude, I Love My Ride if you're in the Denver area, but we just gotta, you know, stay hunkered down for a few more weeks, I guess, until it's actually doable.
And Garlic Bread, if you want more power from your V10, if it's all stock and if the truck is solid, we know some guys who can kind of bump up your power on your V10.
Yeah, the 5-star guys are really good at that.
Yeah.
All right. Andre, another question. We answered the previous question. Keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. We're almost getting through most of it. And this is, by the way, guys, these 20 questions were 3 days worth of email. So thank you for sending your questions. I just wanted to note that a lot of you guys are sending us spy images of trucks and SUVs. So thank you for doing that. We recently had an F-150 spy image come in. So huge thanks for that. Then there's a question from Alan Lynn. Alan says, thank you for doing your most detailed reviews. for some reason, you are the only people who post the payload on the trucks you test. Well, because we want everybody to stay safe and know what they have. And then Alan says, I'm looking for a 2024 F-250 or F-350 with a 7.3 liter gas Lariat trim, pretty loaded. Can you help me find the payload on that truck?
Yes.
And Andre, go.
No. Well, so I can guess, but there is no way for me to look up the database at Ford and tell you exactly what your truck can do. So you could actually ask your dealership if you have a couple in mind, or maybe send a note to Ford. But I'm guessing if you have a single rear wheel, 350, 250, oh, also a tremor, Alan wants. I'm guessing you're around 2,600 pounds of payload, just because of all the options you can get on your Lariat. So that's my guess, but reality can be different.
I have a question actually for you, Dan, since you're on the chat. Tommy and I were pulling up to the offices, and we're here by ourselves, by the way. So we've got these beautiful new studios, and it's just me and Tommy here, kind of bouncing around. I'm hoping that we can get the team back together. But we were sitting next to this brand new, beautiful, like dump truck, right? The kind that has the big bed. And this is a big old truck with the, the little cover. So if you fill it up with rocks or if you fill it up with dirt, it doesn't get all over the place. And I was wondering, Dan, what is a payload on one of those? 6 wheels, right? 2 in the front, 4 in the back. How much, I mean, compared to like a regular pickup truck, how much more can you put into one of those big old dump truck? And we're talking about, a real truck, not a pickup truck. So if you're out there, let us know in the chat. I'd love to know. What do you think, Nathan? How much can you put into a dump truck? What's the payload on one of those guys?
My guess, well, it depends on whether or not the dumper is actually actuated or if it has a gate that just opens up, because that will add to the weight. Altogether, those things, they can hold 10 tons. I mean, potentially. It really does depend on the truck, though, and the axle size.
Yeah. Probably way more.
Yeah, that's a start. Hey, can we talk? There's a guy from Nigeria on Super Chat.
I saw that, but hold on. I don't mean to cut you off, Nathan, because the reason I brought this up was because Andre just did a video. It's going to publish tomorrow, I believe, on a massive truck, and so I kind of wanted to use it as a segue to that. And
okay.
And then we'll talk about the Nigerian guy, because it's a good question. So save that question for a second. Andre, tell him about the big truck story. You're going to be publishing a truck tomorrow.
Coming up tomorrow on TFL Truck on Tuesday. I had a really good fortune reviewing a 4-wheel drive Freightliner, massive luxury truck, but I wasn't drawn to it because it was a massive, summit hauler at Transwest. I was drawn to it because it was about a foot taller than any other Freightliner I've ever seen, and it's 4-wheel drive. So that video is coming tomorrow, and that truck has a payload of about 7 tons.
So Dan Atkinson replied, he said 20K steer, 40K drives payload, probably near 35K. So there you go. That's a boatload of payload.
Yeah, so Nathan, you were pretty close.
All right, Nathan, let's hear the Nigerian CVT question.
Yeah, it's on Super Chat. I'm trying to read these guys. Sorry, I'm trying to help Andre here. So this is from a guy named Kurfu. I'm sure I got that wrong. Hello from Nigeria. Please, can I get maintenance tips for the CVT transmission in a 2012 Toyota Camry Hybrid? It has 152,000 miles on it right now. Now, really important here, continuously variable transmissions, don't crack them open. Don't mess with it on your own. Take it to your dealership. Take it to a certified mechanic, because if you don't, they're not regular transmissions. They need a special type of fluid. They need a special type of maintenance. Don't screw with it on your own. That's the only advice I can give you. Take it to somebody who is certified, or take it to the place that you bought it from if it's a actual dealership, okay?
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that hybrid. I mean, there's a CVT transmission, there's the electric motors, there's a lot going on. It's not one of those cars that you want to particularly dive into, because it'd be like me, you could take it apart, but God help you if you had to put it back together again.
Absolutely. And the thing is, the good news is Toyotas are known to be pretty reliable, and even their CVTs are said to be pretty reliable. So if you're just looking for basic maintenance, maybe to switch out the fluids, take it to a proper certified mechanic. I'm sure you still have them in Nigeria. And more importantly, if you have a dealership that sold it to you, a Toyota dealership, they probably have a mechanic on staff who will be able to give you a good maintenance plan.
Hey, a big shout out to Mark Downing, who's working in the hospital on my lunch break watching you guys. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you putting your life on the line, being one of those people that is out there in the front lines helping keep us healthy or get us back to being healthy. So we really
appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. You know, it means a lot to all of us, I think.
It's really huge. Thank you.
All right, Condre, keep rolling through those questions, man.
Yeah, we got a few more left in the queue here. Neil Titglitz is asking from Israel. He's writing from Israel, and he says he needs to buy a truck, and not be, and for tax purposes, it needs to be a big pickup truck. He's basically asking for 2020 Ram 2500 limited diesel, 2020 Silverado 2500, once again, highest optioned diesel, or an F-250 Lariat diesel. Basically, the big three, which one to buy?
Nathan.
Well, you know, honestly, I didn't know that the full-size truck market was really there in Israel, so that's a big surprise. But out of all of those, in terms of what would be considered the most logical, I would imagine it would be Ford or General Motors in that area, considering the amount of parts that are available. You know, I'm trying to think of what your overall gain is going to be in terms of heavy-duty trucks in that region. So that's kind of a loaded question. Do you mean here in the States? Do you mean in Israel? I mean, that's a big part of the question.
And one other comment is that he doesn't specify exactly what he's doing with the truck.
Yeah.
But my take is, since it's kind of a runabout, it sounds like for him, maybe for the business, I would buy GM because the independent front suspension on the GM heavy duty is just a little bit more forgiving on kind of a rough road. So that's the only thing I can say.
Right. Yeah. I would go with what Andre says on that one.
All right, keep going, Andre. What else you got?
Getting really close. Airbag suspension question. So Ryan Davis has emailed us and said, I have a 2019 Ford F-150 with a 3.5 turbo EcoBoost and a towing package. He's towing a 25-foot trailer, about 5,500 pounds for this camper. And he's looking to upgrade to a bigger camper, about 8,000 pounds and maybe much longer, about the 35-foot camper. Guys, now we're getting into huge campers. And he's saying, should I install an airbag suspension to help the towability, help control, sway, capacity? So basically, he's looking to upgrade his current truck's suspension.
So it's interesting that out of all the manufacturers that build HD trucks, right, Ford, GM, and Ram, only one of them actually does have an air suspension from the factory, right? And that is Ram. They're the only ones that do it. They introduced it a few years ago. Maybe it's longer now, I forget. But they're the only ones that actually do it. Otherwise, you have to go and retrofit it. And, you know, makes you wonder if, like, the other manufacturers decided that it wasn't worth the cost and the complexity of actually adding those airbags, or if there wasn't enough market demand for them. Because usually in a very competitive truck market, when one does something, they all can jump and do it. So what do you guys think?
Well, going back to his question, you know, 8,000 pounds, you're starting to, and a longer trailer, even with air suspension, the wear and tear on your truck is going to be severe. We're talking about transmissions, your rear axles, your brakes, everything that's built for an F-150, you're kind of asking it to do F-250 things. So I think an upgrade would be a little bit more of a logical thing as opposed to the airbags. Now, though, they will help. But Andre, I mean, would you agree with me that that's a lot of weight?
Well, you're saying just get a bigger truck.
Yeah, basically, that's my say. Yeah.
Yeah, so a couple of quick comments. First of all, when you're upgrading your suspension, it's a big deal, right? And the reason why the manufacturer didn't do it initially has many reasons, like Roman was saying. But also, like Nathan was saying, to control a 35-foot long trailer, you need to have a pretty more beefy and heavier pickup truck in general. But I'm guessing he cannot buy a new truck because he's got a fairly new one already. So adding a different suspension doesn't really necessarily add a lot of payload capability to your truck, because you're also talking about, your transmission, your engine, your brakes. It all works in unison, right? You cannot just say, oh, I put some bigger springs on my truck, now I can double my payload. Well, not quite, no. You just have to be looking at it holistically. You can help squat, right? Air suspension will bring you back up, so that's a benefit. But then you have to have a really nice hitch to control your sway. So there's a lot that goes into it, not just the air suspension.
Yeah, so I guess the answer, and even in the chat it says, go for a bigger truck if you can afford it. Otherwise, the air suspension is probably not going to be the solution. I mean, what you're going to get is better leveling, right, Andre, and maybe a better ride, but you're not going to get any more payload or trailer sway. I mean, that is more to do with, you could do a hitch, you could do a weight distributing hitch, you could do all kinds of other technical things, but the air suspension is not going to make that big of a deal.
One quick question from BBD, and this is lightning round, Nathan and Roman. Rem Rebel or brand new Trail Boss? Go.
Rebel.
Trail Boss. I really like the Trail Boss.
Sorry, the Rebel has a locking rear diff that you can actually actuate. I can't stand the G80 that's on the back of the Trail Boss.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. If you look at them like, and I'm still really confounded by this, because we had the Rebel, and now we've got the Trail Boss. And if you look at it logically, right, if you line them up, like maybe option by option, I think you get a lot more in the Ram Rebel. So you probably get a better interior. You definitely get a better interior, right? You certainly get a better locker. But there's something about the Trail Boss that just hits all my buttons, and I really like that truck. And I know it's kind of a silly puck lift, right? It's not particularly advanced. It doesn't have really great off-road shocks, right? Those Rancheros are somewhere between like a Bilstein and just a stock manufacturer shock. But I like that truck. It's just maybe the way it looks. I don't know. And you think I might be crazy?
No, it's a good truck. My gut instinct is, if I'm going to go off-road, because both of them are off-road trims,
yeah, I
would rather have this superior rear end, because that really is what makes the difference between the two of them. Their power's pretty close. If you get, the big engine versus, the 5.7, they're really close. But the big difference to me is that rear end.
All right, how about you, Andre?
I might have to go a Rebel, just because it's just kind of a little bit more comfortable. We've had both now, right? So I would go Rebel. The next question comes from Josh Beckman. He's asking, when are you going to test the Ram Heavy Duty Hemi? So we already answered it. It's coming soon, but we couldn't do it because of the lockdown. The next question comes from Buddy, and Buddy is writing, I'm carrying a giant fifth wheel camper. Should I go for an F350 truck with a 10-speed or a Ram Heavy Duty high output? And Buddy, I'm going to tell you to wait till Friday of this week, because we're going to be publishing our Gold Hitch Awards. And you'll kind of see exactly how that works out.
Yeah, good.
Right, good call.
Yeah, and we've got a whole bunch of other questions here that are pretty interesting. Nathan, when is Gold Mine Hill going to open?
Never. Unfortunately, that property is now part of both the state of Colorado and also a private owner. They're going over the rights of that property, mineral rights and ownership. So it's blocked off. We're not permitted to go on it. Fortunately, we do have some other off-road courses that we've been using, and they're even more challenging than Gold Mine Hill. I totally agree. Gold Mine Hill was a great standard, but unfortunately we have to go past it. And now we've got the guys, we're going to Ironclads. We're going up 2.0. We've got a few others.
We've got Tombstone.
I'm sorry, where?
Tombstone Hill.
Yep, that's right. And then on top of that, we also have the old one, Truth or Dare. We're still going up that from time to time. So we're doing stuff, and I just really, one day, hopefully we'll find yet another Gold Mine Hill 2.0. That's what we're looking for, but the old one is not going to reopen.
Yeah, they put a big barrier up, and it's done, unfortunately. And we got a lot of grief from a certain viewer of ours who said that we didn't take care of it, that we misused it. And you know what? It's absolute horse cocky, because remember that video we did with the Titan where we went and actually cleaned it up?
Yeah, we actually we went and cleaned it up, and that's not the first time we've actually cleaned it. And on top of that, we weren't the only ones to use it. And on top of that, it wasn't purchased and taken away because people were being naughty with the land. No, it was taken away because people want to buy the land for the mineral rights.
Yeah, it's a gold mine.
Gold mine.
Gold mine hill. and think about what's happening with the price of gold right now. So it makes perfect sense. Plus, I think the real issue was a lot of people were actually like living in that. Remember, there was a guy who would like park there and he was living out of his car there for weeks.
Yeah, it was like a Kia Soul or something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Andre, any more questions before we wrap this up?
Yeah, just maybe 3 questions we can kind of address quickly.
Okay.
Dan Cook wrote, with a kind of generic question using email once again, I'm looking to purchase a crew cab forward truck in the mid-level, like a Ford XLT or Chevy LT, et cetera, et cetera. Which one stands out for quality, engineering, and innovation? This is kind of a tough question to answer because you're not giving us a lot of kind of, how you want to use the truck. And we don't do a lot of reliability testing. We do the testing on the trucks we own. So we've done, 2 to 3 vehicles, brand new ones so far, and we're doing 3 more this year. So as we move forward, we'll have some more reliability, quality type data.
All right, and let's talk about real quick what videos are coming up this week, because I got to tell you, the team has really come together. We're working really hard to do as many videos as we can, given the difficult circumstances. Nathan is doing a series of videos called Nathan to the Rescue, where he talks about a lot of the questions that you guys might have. So thank you, Nathan. Those are a lot of fun. Look for them. They're over at TFL Now. Andre's been doing some great buyer guides because we've got the trucks. But let's talk about what's coming up on truck, Andre, and then we'll talk about car, and then we'll talk about now. So Andre, on TFL truck, you've got that really cool big boy truck video coming tomorrow. And how about Thursday and the weekend?
Yeah, so on Thursday, I also have another video that has to do with the Jeep Gladiator Mojave, the new desert running truck. But I'm not in the desert. I'm actually down the street towing a trailer.
Okay.
So I wanted to see how it tows. And I did a small fuel efficiency run around the town here where I live. And then on the weekend, we'll also have the Gold Hitch and the Gold Winch videos. And also something that's escaping me right now. So you go.
Okay, on TFL Car, we're going to have a buddy review that Tommy and I did of the new Kia Soul, the one that looks like a Stormtrooper. That's coming up. Hopefully, we've published, or we are in the process of publishing, the Model X. We're trying to do electric car reviews, the Model X review that shows you what biohazard mode is. So that's hopefully today. We also just finished a buddy review of the new Titan. So I don't know when we're going to get that up, but that's probably going to be up on TFL Now. And Nathan, what you've got a couple of videos in the can for now.
Yeah, we got a couple coming out, including my wife, she who must be obeyed, bought a car recently. I should say I bought the car with her. And so we talk about the buying process, what the car is, and we actually do a walk around video with that. We also just recently came out with a video about one of the vans that was used during the Clinton administration in conjunction with the Secret Service and the White House Communications Corps. So that video just came out, and then we'll have another one that's coming out later on this week, possibly early next week, about the 10 most beautiful cars ever. And basically, I'm challenging you guys to prove me wrong.
And by the way, that Secret Service story, the van that was used in the motorcades in the 90s, I also wanted to give a shout out to my friend Destin Rabin. He actually helped me find that story.
Destin's the best, man.
And by the way, here's a hint for Nathan's video.
That Bullet Mustang too.
You didn't go to the dealership. You had the car delivered to your house when you bought it. So that's kind of cool, the process.
Yeah, it's one of those new companies. I won't give it all away, but watch the video because it's interesting. And I'm very honest about how it all went.
All right, and I know Tommy is right now busily working on a new TFL Classics video. He's basically working on a video that's going to be the top 10 cars that are cool, but they built a crappy version of them.
That sounds like a good one.
So that should be a fun video. And Andre, you just talked to Steve. What's he got planned for off-road, TFL off-road?
Yeah, TFL off-road, of course, that's a channel that's kind of really growing these days. So Steven has a couple of things brewing. He just has a Polaris Ranger, which is kind of a utility side-by-side. He's getting it. He's going to start reviewing it. We're very fortunate to still have some vehicles coming into our fleets. So that's really good. I had a chance to actually take another Polaris Pro XP to IMI Motorsports, one of the off-road areas that we have here. This was a couple of weeks ago. And the video took us a while to edit, but finally it's going to be coming out soon. And also, we're going to have Frontier versus Gladiator. So Nissan Frontier versus Jeep Gladiator, kind of a price comparison on that channel.
Joshua Malcolm Smith, thank you very much. He says, greetings from Europe, big TFL fan. Take care, guys, and thanks for the content. He just donated 10 euros. So thank you very much, Joshua. We
really appreciate that.
Yeah,
awesome.
I got to tell you, having a worldwide audience, you've got people in Israel, got people in Europe, got people in South Africa. It's so thrilling to be, doing a video that goes around the world like that. So we're very grateful for you guys watching us. And I would say, we're going to come back later this week and do another live show. Is that right, Andre?
Yeah, and I wanted to give a couple of shout outs really quickly for some more questions. We're not going to dig into these because we're already beginning the running quite some time. But Keith Morrison sent a question about a used truck that we'll publish on the website. I just wanted to give a couple more shout outs. Tony Dangerfield with an Isuzu Rodeo question. That's going to be a fun one. We'll publish that as well.
Go for the rodeo question. Last one.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm all on it.
I can see Nathan super excited.
Yeah, I love Isuzu. Go for it.
Oh, you're not going to be excited about this one. Tony says, I currently drive a 2002 V6 Isuzu Rodeo. It has low range, very good angle, skid plates, and more rear seat room than cargo space than the Grand Cherokee of a similar era. He's thinking about getting another SUV or a truck. So Nathan, if you want a rodeo, this is your chance.
Montero, dude, go for the Montero.
In the future, we may be doing something like that, but not right now. And besides, I have a damn Suzuki I'm still building. The thing is, you're talking about really old technology and an old V6 that unfortunately is nowhere near as capable as current V6 in terms of efficiency, power, and how green they are. Very different type of setup, but a very good off-roader. Also, in terms of safety, unfortunately, those rodeos aren't very safe. So there's the bottom line. Getting a new vehicle, you'll be safer.
Looking into actually an F-150, but I don't know if you guys know, but my uncle who lives nearby here has a late 90s rodeo. I believe maybe a 98 or a 97.
It's a solid little truck.
And we could maybe do when the lockdown kind of lifts. I could kind of bring it out because it's a four-banger, and it's a solid as a rock.
Hey Nathan, I got something for you.
Okay.
If you're sick of the Suzuki, you know Zach, right? The managing editor of TFL Truck.
Yeah, I think I know.
TFL Car, sorry. His father is selling a Isuzu V-Cross.
Yeah.
It's black and it's red inside, and it's 185 or 87 gently used miles. So, when you're ready to move on from that Suzuki, you've got another project vehicle. I think he's asking like $3K for it.
Yeah, I don't want to get divorced quite yet.
It'd be perfect for the cats. They would love it.
Help me. No, we'll talk about that in the future. There's some great stuff coming way down the pike at TFL where we might be able to talk about those vehicles in more detail.
Yeah, and guys, we're still hopefully planning on doing a big ass road trip this summer. We want to take our F-250 7.3 and ship it to our friends over in California, Cali, to do the suspension. And then who's going to do the camper, Andre? Who are we working with on that?
We're working with Full Wheel Campers.
Yeah.
We're really well known in the overland community. It's kind of a little bit more kind of a high-end camper solution, but I'm very excited.
Yeah, so the plan is for all of us. So this is, a couple of years ago, we did Motor Mountain USA, where we drove a Jeep Wrangler to the 50 highest points in all 50 states. That was quite the epic undertaking. And this year we want to over the top that. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take that F-250 and we're going to make it into an American style. What I mean by that is overlander, right? The way that we here in America do overlanding. And then Tommy's got that Gladiator that we're going to lift, and we're going to work with FCA on their performance parts, and we're going to make that into a more, let's call it South African, Australian kind of overlander. And here's the exciting part. We're working with our friends at Roof Nest, who are going to put a roof nest on the thing. And then we're going to drive it across country, off-road, from east to west this summer. So, you know, hopefully that still comes to fruition. I think, you know, that is still a go. So I'm super excited to have, you know, a really cool video series that we're going to be producing and seeing which one is actually, you know, more fun, more interesting, and, you know, which one lasts and which one doesn't.
Yeah, and to close out, Vlad is asking, is Snarf sandwiches only available in Colorado?
Yes, and I don't know, are they even open still? Can you go and pick up Snarfs, or are they closed temporarily?
I think they're closed.
They're open because most sandwich shops are open.
We tried to go there today when we did the Titan review, and we did not succeed, I fear. I fear Navigate the Snarfs in the Titan did not yield the results that we were looking for.
Maybe it's because of the lockdown.
Yeah, maybe the voice recognition understood exactly what was going down. It was smarter than us. Well, guys, thank you for watching. Nathan, Andre, thank you for taking the time to do this. What car or truck should I buy? Now we're going to come back on Friday, guys.
Friday sounds good.
Yep, and stay tuned for the Gold Hitch Awards. That's just a culmination of a boatload of work that the entire team's put in, and I can't wait to find out what the best midsize, heavy-duty off-roader is in America.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you for joining, and thank you for your donations. It's been amazing.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Bye, guys.
Here, guys.